have the pleasure of sitting down with two ladies that most of the community already knows from one facet or another, but I'm going to introduce them anyway. To my far left, I have the Executive Director for the Thread, Natalie Hale, and to my immediate left, I have the Senior Planner for the City of LaGrange, Leigh Threadgill. Ladies, welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thanks, Alton.
Well, it's a pleasure to sit down with you ladies once more, and again, to get all of the information that's going on about the Thread and all the various things that are taking place in and around our community. And I know that you two ladies have your finger on the pulse and on everything else in our community. So again, I just want to open up by Natalie, if you don't mind, introduce us, tell us a little bit about yourself if you don't mind, and tell us your role as the Executive Director.
I am Natalie Hale. I'm from LaGrange, and I am the Executive Director for the Friends of the Thread Trail. They're a 501c3 nonprofit.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. Very good. And you guys have been in existence now for almost, what, 2-3 years now?
Going on 3 years.
That's okay. All right. Very good. And Leigh, whom I've known now 6 years, Leigh?
That's right, Alton.
6 years. Is our Senior Planner. Leigh, tell us a little bit about your role.
Well, you know, planning is an interesting field. There's a lot that goes into it, and depending on where you work, and I love working for the City of LaGrange because there's never a dull moment. My role is both related to regulation, but also more recently I've been involved in a lot of project management related to some of the things that have been going on in the community, park related, and some of the things related to housing, and you know, we're working on changing ordinances. So it's kind of it's a big umbrella. But I really enjoy it. So
no day is the same, is it?
No day is like the one before. That's right.
That's right. Absolutely. And Leigh, you were talking about parks, and I know that, you know, some of our viewing audience we say, well, why don't the city do more about the parks? Why don't the city do this about the park? But we need to help them understand that parks are not our responsibility. So if you don't mind, expound on that just a little bit.
Well, the City of LaGrange and Troup County have a relationship as it relates to Parks and Rec, and that goes to a service delivery strategy that was done some years ago. And at that time, my understanding is that Troup County was given the responsibility of Parks and Recreation, and the city at the time, I think, had a Parks and Rec department and folded that into the counties. So since then, we've just kind of tried to work together as a partner with Troup County. We've been working more recently as sort of the capital investor in some of those parks and making some of the improvements that you see, but we don't have the Parks and Rec staff that the county does to program, and, you know, like Mike Daniels staffed, and they've got folks that are programming and finding coaches and all those things. So we don't do all of that. We are maintaining some of our park improvements that we've been involved in. The trail is one example. Southbend Park is going to be another example that's just opened up, and so and then we are looking to make some improvements at Eastside Park. So there's several parks that you know, are scattered throughout the community. Some of them are new. Southbend is an example. Some of them are old, Eastside and others. And we're just trying to kind of, you know, bite it off one at a time and make improvements to those park spaces so that everybody can enjoy a healthy, active life.
Absolutely. You know, and you made a good point, bite it off a little bit at a time, because I can remember coming up, I worked over at Eastside Park, working the concession area there, and those ball fields were always active, and, you know, there was teams, you know, that was coming in from out of town playing there, and then over the course of time, they kind of fell to defunct and everything, and so they kind of fell into disarray. And one of the things that what the city and all did was bring the Thread through there. And I want to jump over to Natalie. Talk a little bit about the number of miles that have been completed thus far, as far as the Thread is concerned.
So far, we have 3 segments complete, totaling 4.7 miles. We're currently under construction on another 1.8 mile section. So we have 2 different, they're not connected, the 4.7 miles are not connected yet. We hope to connect them within the next year. We have 2.1 miles that go from Mike Daniel Rec Center to Twin Cedars, and then the other starts at Granger Park and runs to LaGrange College Cleveland Field.
Oh, okay. And, you know, we were over back last month, and we planted trees over at the Eastside Park there for Arbor Day. And I think you ladies have told me that this is probably, right now, of the miles that are on the ground, this is one of the most scenic routes. Can y'all just kind of elaborate on that for us?
It really is. The 2.1 mile stretch starts, as I said, at Mike Daniel, and it uses existing asphalt to George Harris Field, and then once you get to George Harris's parking lot, we start with the new concrete trail, and it goes through a very beautiful wooded piece over there adjacent to the parking lot, and between the George Harris parking lot in Ragland Street. And it's a beautiful wooded area. And then you go around American Home Shield and into another wooded area that's got our first bridge. Well, actually, the first bridge is on the next segment near Twin Cedars, but we have our first bridge feature, which is over Blue John Creek. It is awesome. It's just really scenic, and we hope a lot of people get out there and use it.
Absolutely. And the first phase of it was over, of course, as we know, over at Granger Park there. And you, again, you ladies were very instrumental. Have you seen the usage? I'm going to ask both you ladies. Have you seen the usage of the thread increase?
We have. Well, the weather has been horrible, as you know.
Right. If you're a duck, you love it, right?
Yes, if you're a duck, you might love it. But the month of February, we bought counters, infrared counters that we have installed on the thread. And the month of February, you know, was horrible. We had 6 days without rain, but we also had 6,000 people walking on the thread in the month of February.
Okay.
So I can't wait to see how many, you know, once the weather picks up, gets nicer, how many people we see walking. I bet we will see somewhere around 10,000 a month or more.
Very good. And Leigh, I know that you're a runner and walker, and those. How enjoyable is the thread for you?
Alton, if I could go every day, I would. It is. And a lot of times I just run the Granger loop because of a time constraint. But when I have a chance to just get out and go, I love to get out there. It's a great, it's a perfect amount of hills, non-hills. You've got that sort of the wide openness of the trail makes you just feel, you know, you feel safe, but you're not crowded. You're not on a sidewalk. You can see lots of different people out there. There's plenty of room to get around them if they're walking, and it's very social. People, you know, wave, they speak. So it's just enjoyable to be out and running among your community and on an amenity that just takes you through scenic places and gives you a great opportunity to get in shape and enjoy being in nature. So I think that it's been, you know, we always use the word transformative when we talk about the trail, and that really was the intention behind the project in the beginning, and I think that we're seeing that intention realized. So it's exciting.
Well, very good. And Leigh, you brought up a point in your conversation there talking about safe. And Natalie, I'll ask you to comment. You know, when we unveiled the proposal about the thread, you know, community was saying, oh, you know, how safe is going to be, or should it be lighted? Talk about, have you seen any incidents along the thread since it's been unveiled and going through the various communities that it goes through at this point?
We have not had any safety problems at all.
Okay.
So far, the only thing we had one incident of a graffiti. Right. It's been 2 years ago?
It's been a while.
It's been about, but that is the only incident we've had along the thread. So it's really, people feel, they say where you bring the trail, it makes it a safer place because, you know, criminals don't want to be where people are. And so there's so many people on the thread, that would be not a great place to be.
Absolutely.
If you were wanted to conduct.
You know, and I've never felt, and I've walked both segments of the Granger and also the east side segment of it, and never have I felt, you know, uncomfortable or anything of that nature. And I just hope that people will come out and take full advantage of it, because it is a great amenity here in our community. And I want to transition just a little bit, because on the 14th of February, we did an unveiling of another part of the thread, another section that the thread is going to come through, and that's Southbend Park. Talk about that a little bit for us, Leigh, if you don't mind.
Well, Southbend was a great example of a partnership between Callaway Foundation and the City of LaGrange to develop or redevelop about 5 acres in the south end of downtown. It was the old Daniel Lumber Supply, and you know, that 5-acre space that was really doing nothing, you know, for many years, has come online to be an incredible amenity for our community. It's been packed routinely, and it has a mixture of uses or options for different people. It would appeal to lots of different folks. I mean, dog owners have the dog park to go to. We've got a playground that has been very attractive to kids of lots of different ages. So there's a younger section and an older section, 2 to 5 and then 5 to 12, excuse me. And then there's an open green and a pavilion, so just for passive use. And then, of course, the skate park, which was kind of the city's piece to that 5-acre redevelopment was pretty much contained in that, about 3/4 of an acre skate park that we've built. And that is a Tony Hawk Foundation grant-funded skate park, and it has been a very a sort of a long-awaited amenity that I think everybody has really been surprised to see it come to life. And the use that has been associated with that in the short time that it's been open has been, I think, staggering. I don't know that anybody thought that we would have the kind of use that we've seen. It's very entertaining. People say, well, I don't have a dog and I don't have a child and I don't skateboard and and I always tell them, that's fine, but let me tell you, it's some great watching. If you like to, if you want to see something really impressive and interesting, watching skateboarding is, I mean, it's not boring.
No,
it's a very
definitely not
exciting
boring.
sport, and you can go and you can watch for 10 minutes, you can watch for 30 minutes, and just be outside. There's benches all throughout the park, and there's circulation throughout, so you can go and you can walk through the park or run through the park, and get some exercise while you're, kind of taking in all the different action and all the different pods. And so it's a great, I think everybody's really, really excited to see that end of downtown come to life the way that it has. And I think we haven't even begun to experience the impacts that will have for years to come.
Absolutely.
So we're really excited to see what the future holds.
I was there for the ribbon cutting of Southbend Park, and the skaters came out, and it was just so, I guess, exciting to see them, when they gathered for the photo. They all held up their skateboards, and to have that amenity, because this is going to be something that will draw from the various communities, Columbus, Coweta County, and the surrounding area, because unlike most things that's new, people want to gravitate to those new things, and it's a different park than what they may have down in the Columbus and in the Coweta area. So I'm hoping that we will see the usage of that pick up as well. And talking about that, I know that we have some other areas that the thread is going to extend through. And right now, Natalie, I think it's going down Country Club Road and Panther Way. Talk about that.
We're just finishing up the Panther Way piece from Vernon Road to Vernon Road down Panther Way to Cleveland Field. The concrete's actually finished. We're just waiting on the benches and signage. That was a grant-funded piece. We received a grant from the Department of Natural Resources for $200,000 for that piece, and our contractor went just gangbusters on it. He finished in record time, so he completed that piece in less than two months of concrete pouring, I think, even with the bad weather.
With the rain, yeah.
It's really impressive, and it's a very, very scenic piece. It's got a beautiful retaining wall that matches Price Theater. It's a very scenic piece. It goes between Price Theater and Lamar Dodd, and then has a beautiful view of Cleveland Field. And so it has really enhanced their campus. The students over there, I'm seeing more I've never seen very many LaGrange College students on the thread until now. And so now that it's connected to LaGrange College, you see more of them at Granger Park, and it's just great to see them, getting out in our community.
Absolutely.
And so our next phase right now is going out Country Club. It will end at Pine Tree Drive. It's a 1.8 mile stretch, and it will go down in the green space. The Callaway Foundation owns a piece of property down about halfway down to Hollis Hand, and that is going to be fabulous. We're going to have our first top-down boardwalk. It'll cross the creek in 2 different spots. It's going to be really something for LaGrange.
Top-down boardwalk.
They actually don't even they don't disturb the ground, so they build it from the top down.
Okay. Interesting.
It's going to be fun to watch it being built, and then it's going to be a great piece to walk on.
Okay.
It'll be a showpiece.
It will be a showpiece.
Of the system, I'm sure.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yep.
Well, again, we just want to invite people to get out there on the thread, because it is in a fantastic amenity here in our community. And Nellie, you were saying that the city or the thread, Friends of the Thread, received a $200,000 grant.
The city actually.
Okay.
The city is the recipient of those Recreational Trails Program grant funds.
Okay.
We've applied. This is actually our second grant. We apply every chance we can. We funded Granger with a $100,000 grant, and then they changed the rules and upped the award amount to $200,000. So that was great.
Yes.
And we got that for the LaGrange College piece, and we're identifying now segments for the next application cycle. So we'll be applying again at the end of this year.
Okay. Very good. And let's just talk about cost a little bit, because, this is an amenity here in our community that will draw people in from surrounding areas, hopefully to not only walk the thread, but to move to LaGrange and to live. What does it cost, Leigh, per mile to construct this amenity?
Well, the sort of, quote unquote, going rate, or what they average it out to tell you, is about $1 million a mile. I think that we're seeing that is a little bit higher than what we are building it for, partly because we have been very fortunate in relying on city staff to help offset some of the costs that are associated with construction. So I don't know if we've averaged what it's been costing us per mile, but I suspect that when we do that, we will see that we're actually coming in under that $1 million a mile sort of standard for trail construction. So it is an amenity that appeals to the largest section of your population, and so the return on the investment is huge, and the sky's kind of the limit because you've got everybody from babies to, you know, grandparents enjoying that space together, you know, and it's wonderful. So.
Absolutely. And you're talking about babies, so I'm going to associate them with strollers. Going to my next point, this is a non-motorized. So talk about that and the reason why we want it to be a non-motorized thread.
You can go.
Well, yeah, I mean, that is the Path Foundation, who we partner with, is a sort of trail expert consultant, and that is the standard that they have used in all of their trail construction. And so when we embarked on this, you know, following their expertise, the point is that you want to be on that and feel like you can enjoy it without a golf cart coming behind you, or or a you know, electric scooter whizzing by or whatever, and causing you, you know, like, oh my gosh, I mean, I'm trying to run or I'm trying to bike and I wasn't expecting, you know, that
Something
to come.
motorized.
So it really is just a safety thing, and just not having to be concerned about that kind of a user in that space.
Very good. And, you know, because I have a friend of mine who said, well, what about a motorized bicycle? I think anything that's motorized, you don't want to have it there on the thread.
We do allow electric wheelchairs, so that should be, that's the only exception, but no e-bikes or, you know, what that terminology is. No hoverboards, right? No razors that are, you know, what is the other thing people have? There's some other, like, anyway, there's all these different
there's various motorized
yeah.
Skateboards are permissible, though.
They are.
They're permissible.
Absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely. They just don't have the various jumps and various bows to do them like they do now at the Southbend.
What's great, though, is that a lot of people might be able to get on at the trail somewhere and skate down to Southbend Park.
There you go. Absolutely. And my next point, you know, Natalie, you mentioned early on I think negative, not necessarily negative, but the only thing that you can recall was a little bit of graffiti.
Right.
What would you want to say to our community when we have this beautiful amenity in our community that is going to be a national draw? What would you want to say to them in reference to graffiti and stuff of that nature?
I would just like everybody to take pride in what we have. I mean, we have a beautiful amenity it's free to everyone. I mean, it's something anybody can use, like Leigh said. Handicapped people, you know, I saw somebody the other day, a lady with a bike that had an attachment to the front, and her special needs son in his 20s was in the front of it. There's nowhere else she could ride that around this area. So it's just a great amenity that the community should be proud of and support.
Absolutely. And which leads me to my next question. How can the community help us maintain this amenity in our community, Natalie?
Well, we have, they can donate to Friends of the Thread. We support the city's maintenance fund. The city maintains the thread, as Leigh said. And we also have adopt-a-segment spots that you can adopt. If you have a garden club or a book club, you can adopt a part of this thread and maintain it.
Okay.
The other thing we would ask is just pick up trash.
Yeah.
If you're there.
While you're there.
I mean, anybody, first of all, don't litter.
Yeah.
And second of all, if you see litter, try to just pick it up and throw it away. There are lots of trash cans throughout the park. And similarly with pet waste, you know, we're trying to keep this space enjoyable for everybody. And we've got pet waste stations throughout the trail so that you can grab a bag and pick up after your dog. So those are just simple ways that you as a user can do your part to keep it clean. Don't contribute to you know, pet waste or to the litter problem.
Absolutely. Because again, it's a beautiful amenity in our community. And Natalie, it leads me to my next question that I want to ask you, because I know last year you all had a fundraising event for that was sponsored by Friends of the Thread I hear was very successful. And then I think you all are planning it again for this year.
We are. It's Dancing for the Thread. It'll be August 3rd at Delavant. Last year we had a sold-out event. We raised $37,000, and we hope to have an even bigger and better event this year.
Okay.
So we'll soon be, in mid-April, we'll reveal our dancers. So it's always exciting to hear who's dancing.
I know that's right.
Can't wait.
They can't wait, right? So let me, as we get ready to kind of close up here, we got the Calumet. I think is another part of the section. I don't think we talked about that because I think that's the next phase that we're getting ready to embark on.
So we're in design and engineering, and the way that we build the trail is we have segments that we are in the middle of designing and segments that we are in the middle of building, and we're just constantly.
Okay,
So while we're under construction somewhere, in the background, there is a segment that's being engineered. And so that's where we are right now with this next piece, which will go from where we ended at Twin Cedars to Calumet Park through the Calumet neighborhood.
Okay.
So we're really excited about that piece. And things are looking really great for us to be able to go ahead shortly after that and continue on to connect into Southbend Park. So then you would have a connection from Mike Daniel all the way into downtown, a continuous connection, which is really, really exciting.
Yeah.
It'd be great.
So we're very hopeful that comes to life soon. So yeah, just stay tuned for that. I think we'll be under construction on Country Club for
Probably
a little while, and then after that we'll just we'll have this other piece designed, and when we wrap up Country Club, we'll be moving on over to the Calumet area. So
Absolutely. So total, I think it's 29 miles.
it is.
29 miles.
That when everything is on the ground, and it is a loop around the city with spokes out.
It's basically, I call it like a 4-leaf clover that looks a little bit strange, but it's four loops, one obviously outer loop, but
Right.
within those there's 4 interior loops, and then you could mix and match those any way you wanted to. What we're building right now, our consultant calls the bow tie, and I would call it an infinity sign,
Yeah.
but it's 2 east-west loops, so
Okay.
that we're trying to complete. Those 2 connect through downtown, and then from there we'll have another one that kind of goes up to the north and one that comes down to the south. So it's the name Thread.
The Thread,
It
yeah.
really it makes sense on so many different levels, but one of the levels is that if you look at a map, it really, I mean, it threads through the community.
Absolutely. Which kind of basically led to me to my next question. Why was it so important, both you ladies, that the thread ran through the communities that it is running through? Why is that so important?
Well, back to the sort of intention behind the project and the transformation that we had hoped that it would help accomplish. The point of this system is not just to provide for recreation. It is also to provide for community. And when you think about providing something to bring the community together, to unify and to join us all, this is an opportunity to do that. It appeals to so many different people that may or may not ordinarily bump into each other during the course of their day. But, at the end of the day, they all might end up on this same space. And that's very powerful. And I think that it has the potential to really to change a lot of kind of the way that we interact and the way that we think about our community. We will see parts of our community that we may not otherwise see because they're open to us now just through this trail system in a way that we had never thought about. And so all of that is an incredible power that this kind of amenity has. I don't know if you would add anything to that, but that's kind of how I see
That's
it.
very true.
So very intentional.
Yes.
Very
Very
intentional.
intentional. I mean, we've talked about it before. It's you start by looking at your park spaces and you connect all your park spaces, and it just happens that worked very well to tie in different neighborhoods, to some different commercial areas, to some different schools, to obviously to the parks. We're including even the hospital will be on this system, which makes some sense. So even healthcare, and I mean, there's just you want to tie as many different destinations together as you can.
Absolutely. And in talking about that, I know that we've been up to Carrollton to the Greenbelt. I've gone to the one in Atlanta, and I've noticed along the threads and along those routes, you have commerce, commercial, all the various other things, bike shops, so much more can come from having this amenity in our community. We're still in the infancy stage of it, but who knows what the future holds for as far as the thread and the communities that it will connect. As we get ready to close out, what do you see next for the city of LaGrange? I know we got the thread on the way, we got Southbend, and I want to talk. I meant to mention we do have an opening, kind of another ribbon cutting about Southbend. Talk about that, Leigh.
Well, when we opened the park on Valentine's Day, that opening was basically driven by the fact that people were already using it, and it was pretty much done.
So it had to be open,
It was
right?
pretty much done, and we just kind of had to go and say, okay, this is ready. Let's everybody get on board here. But we also have some finishing touches to put, especially on the skate park and just the landscape in general throughout the park. The weather has plagued us.
Yeah.
So we're working on those finishing touches right now. But we always sort of earlier on had talked about having a really powerful grand opening event for the skate park. This is an exciting project, not just for the city, but for the design team that designed it, for the contracting team that built it, which was entirely made up of skateboarders. So the people that built that park all skateboard, and they were skateboarding it while they were building it to make sure that it did what it was supposed to do,
that's right.
and that it was working. And so we're looking at planning a really sort of big splash event April 20th. We wanted to wait till the weather was a little bit warmer, until we had the opportunity to finish some of the finer points of the park, and we want to bring the whole community out. I think that it's going to be, everything from, food to music to hopefully, and we're working on this, having some professional, semi-professional skateboarders come and demonstrate the park. There might be some contests that day. I've had folks reach out to me from local vendors that are selling, skateboards or other gear or equipment associated with skateboarding. I've got folks out of Columbus that have reached out. So this has kind of gotten some attention throughout the region. Actually, it's really gotten national attention because I'm hearing from people in Boston, or there's people that are reaching out from other communities about this park, and so it really has a lot of eyes on it, and we want to continue to capture that attention, so the 20th will be an opportunity to really spotlight it.
Absolutely. Exciting times here in the city of LaGrange, and it's been a long time coming. I think with having you ladies here at the helm of both of those projects, it just shows what we can do when we work together. And as you stated earlier, it's a safe place for everybody to come out to enjoy and to behold. We got the skate park. I'm sure we're going to be looking at other things to address other recreational needs in our community as we continue to hear from our community. And that's what we need to do, hear from our community. We may not be able to do everything on your wish list, but we can at least do something. So, ladies, I want to thank you. And before we close out, Natalie, if you don't mind, because I want to make sure that people know how they can help out the Friends of the Thread and to maintain it, tell them that the Dancing with the Thread fundraising once more, the time of that.
It's August 3rd at Delavant.
Okay.
And we'll be having tickets on our website. Our website is thethreadtrail.org.
So they can go out and donate now if they want to, Ken.
They can donate whenever, yes, anytime.
Absolutely. So definitely make sure we help out in maintaining our amenities here in our communities. Ladies, it's always a pleasure to sit down with both of you all. So full of energy, always a bright, wonderful smile, so I appreciate that. And if I can ever be of assistance by helping getting the word out, you know where to find me.
Thank you for having us.
All right, ladies, and thank you all once again.
Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, stay tuned for more this week in just a moment.